Hello, guys. It's the Unsmooth Criminal, and I'm able to talk louder and say a lot more fucking things. So, this is going to be an 18 plus series. Not just because of violence. There's actually not going to be any torture. There's pretty much never going to be a gore scene in this one. And I get to go back to my roots. What some of you guys do not know is the Unsmooth Criminal was inspired by my Xbox name and the game I used to play called Payday 2. And I loved mystery and investigative shows like Criminal Minds, Bones, White Collar, Burn Notice, and a lot more other ones. I used to love those. Ooh, Mythbusters. Great detective show. They got to the good points. Like if a car could actually fly. No. But I have been a loyal fan of this show called White Collar. Great show. You guys should go watch it. It's an American TV show where a con man, well, I'm going to spoil a little bit of the first season, gets left by his girlfriend, which is getting blackmailed by this other dude who's trying to blackmail the original guy to get his Soviet loot and whatnot. It gets confusing, but once you get to the end of season 2, it gets so much clearer. And then it throws you for another loophole. So yeah. Okay. Now that's over. Let's start this. We start with two people. You see one of them in the picture, and another person. They're currently standing in the middle of a warehouse. Nothing's around them. Just an empty warehouse. And she goes, "I brought it. Where's my money?" And the person says, "Your money is transferring now." Once they click the send button, the entire, and yes, this is going to be in America, the entire force of the FBI White Collar Division, which is forgeries, art thefts, expensive items that they investigate missing or clues towards this kind of stuff, comes busting in and arrests both of them. And yes, I'm going to be doing a lot of different things. UA is going to be in America, by the way. Just want to re-say that. And they put this girl on the books. They say, "Izumi Midoriya, you are charged with the theft of this painting." And I'm just going to throw out a name of an artist. And sue me if it's not correct. Raphael. I know that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, great show. You guys should go watch it. Great live action movie. You guys should go watch it. If you guys haven't. The names of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are famous artists. So if I say an art piece that is not part of them, or just say an artist, it's most likely going to be those four: Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Leonardo. So yeah, it's probably going to be those four because those are the only ones I can remember constantly. But since I don't know much about art, I'm not going to be able to explain all the intricate detail stuff. If you guys want to go see one of those shows that are really good for it, watch White Collar. Great show. Can't recommend it enough. I'll always be referencing it. If you guys have watched White Collar already, you know the character Neil Caffrey. Izumi Midoriya. Kind of same concept. But Neil Caffrey is his actual name. Well, more of his mother's maiden name. Which I didn't know until season 4. That's another spoiler. By the way, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for White Collar because I'm going to be constantly bouncing back and forth between White Collar and this My Hero world. So, the FBI enlists superhumans that have a hero license as CIs. And if you don't know what a CI is, it's basically someone that goes, hey, I can help with that. And they're the expert in the criminal world. I'm going to explain Izumi's certain set of skills to you right now. So Izumi has a quirk called Con Artist. She's able to replicate in perfect detail the art piece that she's last touched, and she's able to mimic the form and vocals of the person she's last touched. And since she has photographic memory, she stores it in her memory forever. It's kind of like Rimuru's mimic skill and copy skill. By the way, that time I got reincarnated slime. Go watch it. Great show. So, now that we have that settled, let's get down to the nitty-gritty about this story. We go to the courtroom. The lead agent, I'm going to use one of the characters in White Collar, their name. I'm just going to probably either say the first name or the last name. Peter Burke. Yes, from White Collar. I know I'm ripping it straight out of White Collar, but easiest for me to remember. Walks up to the stands and says the entire length of the investigation in detail. Then Izumi walks up to the stands. And they asked her all these different things, and she's told to say yes or no. And she just says, allegedly. Because all of the files and documents say, allegedly. So she's technically not saying yes, she's technically not saying no. So she's not agreeing or disagreeing. So she's... Fifth Amendment, remember correctly, is the right to... Yeah, I think it's Fifth Amendment. But if you're American, you know what I'm talking about. The right, you can't openly accuse yourself. You're not forced to openly accuse yourself. And then they finally get to the last painting that she was fencing. And if you don't know what fencing is, it's illegally selling the art to someone who wants it and then getting paid for it in either items or cash. And she goes, yes, I did that. And she was put away for 4 years. 3 years into the sentence, girlfriend shows up, and yes, I'm going to have this cliche of White Collar, and says a certain line. I'll miss you, bye. And that's it, and walks out. Izumi, wanting to understand what she just said, breaks out of prison the very next day. And this prison was Ultra Max Tartarus style prison from My Hero World, where pretty much no one can break out. And she broke out easily by using her quirk, which no one should have really known that she used her quirk, but they forgot that any kind of physical contact, even through clothes, is enough for her to copy. The only way to stop it is if she's wearing latex or the other person is wearing one layer of latex. That's the only way to stop it. For art, on the other hand, you can't stop that. And she's able to tell if it's a forger immediately just by touching it, because it would cause a new style of art to be put in her brain. So, Peter Burke comes back and talks with Izumi the day of her escape, and wondering what she was thinking, because he's been keeping tabs on her, talking with her to try to get the rest of the art that she's stolen and or bonds forged or any kind of crime that she's allegedly committed. And she said nothing. She's never lied, and she swears upon it that she's never lied. And I'm just going to tell you that she never tells a lie. She only jumps over the truth sometimes. And finally, she escapes that midnight. When she escapes, she goes to their apartment that they've shared for years. She's been an adult, 18 years old for many years, so 4 years, so she's 22 years old, and she's been with her girlfriend for 3 out of the 4 years. And she's never gotten her hero license, so she can't use her quirk legally. So she escapes. She goes to her apartment, finds her apartment completely cleared, absolutely nothing except for one item. And that was the very first love letter that she sent to her girlfriend. And I'm not putting a ship for this one because I get to quickly kill her girlfriend off, sorry. And if you guys know anything about White Collar, Neil has a very bad love relationship with his girlfriends. Love-hate relationship. Yeah. So after like 5-10 minutes, Peter Burke walks into the apartment and goes, "So the second time I caught you." And she goes, maybe not. I might have let you catch me. And he goes, yeah. Also helps that I kind of know you. You're a creature of habit. And she goes, yeah, no. And he goes, okay. You're going back. And she goes, okay. And she says, on one condition. I won't ever run again. And I'll only tell you the truth. I'll try not to skip over the truth if it helps with investigations that won't incriminate me further. And he's hearing all these ground rules, and he goes, sure, let's go with that. And after hearing it, she gets put back in prison. And finally, after many, many, many months of her just consulting with certain cases, like how she would have done it, what she would do to successfully do it, them catching a few bad guys or villains or whatever you want to call them, and finally Nezu walks in with Peter Burke, and Nezu says, I want you to become a hero. And Peter Burke looks at him like, what? And Nezu finally says, if she becomes a hero, she will get a tracking chip in her, and then she will be placed under mine and your custodies. And if you go on a trip to vacay, she's under my custody. If I go on a vacay, which never happens, she's under your custody. So, tag team this. And he goes, why would we do that? And Nezu goes, well, you can use her and I can teach her to be a hero. And he goes, okay. And Nezu goes, once you become a hero, all allegations against you are nullified. And she looks at him with a hit expression and goes, there's a catch, isn't there? And he goes, yeah. You're getting a chip that if you go through a metal detector, it will flag either the FBI, the police department of that area, or me if you're on the run. She goes, fine. But as long as you're not on the run, it won't flag any metal detector. As long as you have an agent on your tail. And she goes, damn. And he goes, oh, don't worry. You won't even know they're on there. And she goes, I always do. Last 2 years of my life, I've always had an agent on my tail. And Nezu looks at Peter Berker and he goes, yeah, kind of tried to keep a watch on her. And she goes, no. I'm looking at you, Furball. You've had Aizawa on me this entire time. And he goes, who? And she goes, yeah, I know. Eraserhead's been on me this entire time. And he's still outside watching me. And she changes her hand, starts changing her hand into a animal claw from a person who has a mutation quirk. And it stops. And she goes, see? And Peter Berg freaks out because her cuffs are off. And Nezu goes, calm down. I knew she would have gotten out of those in either the next minute or a minute. And she goes, duh. And she tosses the cuffs on the table and she starts leaning back. And she goes, on one condition. And Nezu goes, okay, what's the condition? You help me locate my girlfriend. And Nezu goes, already done. And he puts a tablet on the table and it shows her at UA. And he goes, she's been under the witness protection program for a crime that it wasn't you who committed. It was a mass murderer who committed it. And we are currently tracking that mass murderer. She goes, oh yeah, I know him. He tried to take my quirk. Kind of broke his arm. And they both look at Izumi and they go, who? And she goes, yeah. You didn't ask me for his name, so... And plus, I'm still in here, so I don't need to tell you anything. And Nezu pulls out the contract and he goes, I kind of calculated all these conditions. And she reads through it quickly and skims it. And quickly scribbles the name on there. And Peter Burke looks at the signature and sees just Izumi. And he goes, what's your last name? And she goes, I don't got one. And he goes, what? She goes, I don't got one? And he rephrases the question, what do you mean you don't have a last name? She goes, I don't know. And Nezu looks at her and goes, okay. We're going to have to also inject you with another lie detector. And she goes, there's no need. You can even ask our girlfriend. I don't even know my last name. And Nezu makes a call and asks, and the live feed that was in her girlfriend's room, which they've been trying to keep an eye on her so she doesn't get abducted or killed, cuts out right as the phone starts ringing. She answers the phone. The feed cuts out. And Nezu makes another call. And one of the teachers answers and says, not now, bad time. And Nezu goes, what do you mean bad time? And they go, bomb just went off. And Izumi immediately understood the situation. She ducked behind the table, shrank into a rodent size, because she can do that, and hopped onto Nezu. Because her quirk is the ability to transform into other people, which transforms her genetics so she can use other people's quirks. Barely, though. So if she had Todoroki's genetics, she would get either his fire or his ice. It's random. Because she still has to have half her genetics. So she can constantly transform. But she'd kind of be able to choose between fire and ice. So she transforms into a mouse and sits on Nezu. And since her jumpsuit is part of her quirk, because she can kind of make clothes out of her hair by herself to make her jumpsuit transform, her clothes are now her fur, basically. Hi, Jack. Hi. You're not supposed to walk on me if you want my attention. My cat likes walking on my feet. Hi, Bloody. So, Nezu runs out to the car, tells Aizawa to start up the engine. Aizawa basically appears like a shinobi using Shunshuin from Naruto and starts up the engine. Peter Burke hops in the back and goes, "Why am I in the back?" And Nezu goes, "I hopped in first, that's why." And he goes, "Fine." I'm not going to reference Peter all the time, so he's going to be once in a while. And we skip 24 hours. Izumi has locked herself in her room. Not really her choice, though. She was kind of ordered to lock herself in the room. Nezu has come back with a little gun of sorts. Walks up to the door, knocks on the door, and she notices the tap, and she transforms into Nezu and opens up the door. And she starts doing the exact same thing Nezu does. Just to fuck with him. After a while, he gets tired of it and goes, "Go into normal form." So she transforms into another female. And he goes, "Is this your normal form?" And she goes, "I don't know what my normal form is." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And she transforms again. And she goes, "This could be my normal form? This one. This one. This one. This one. Or even this one." And she's transforming between all these forms. And he goes, okay. Pick one that I can inject you in the back with." So she picks this one. Maybe 10 minutes, he finally puts the gun to her back and fires the basically circuit into her back, and then tells her transform back into something with fully clothed. So she does this, and she takes out a pair of headphones that were in her pocket. Don't tell me where she kept that while in Nezu form, because she didn't have any clothes on, she just had fur. Don't ask. And finally, she hops on her bed and says, "Leave." Nezu could barely hear the music, but it is not very happy music. It's "Monster I've Become" by, I think it's Green Day. "Castle of Glass" by Linkin Park. And "Monsters" by Shinedown. And she's listening to those 3 songs on repeat in random orders constantly. So the next few days, she's wallowing in regret and self-pity. And finally, Nezu walks back in and says, "Are you going to join the school or not, like your contract says?" And she goes, "The school's already started?" And he goes, "Yeah, you got to get to class." And she goes, "Fine." So she transforms into a comfortable look for school. This one. And she's transformed into this, and she just walks to class, sits in the very back seat where no one really notices her, and she walks up to the invisible girl. And she taps the invisible girl's shoulder, and it freaks her out because she's currently in her hero's costume, without her gloves and shoes on. Yes, she's completely nude, spying on her classmates. And finally, Izumi walks up, or completely goes next to her shoulder and says, "Put some clothes on," and then walks away. Another upside to Izumi's quirk is, if it's a smoke quirk, she can see through it. If it's a shadow quirk, she can see through the shadows. If it's any kind of quirk that stimulates the vision or blocks the vision in some kind, she could see through it. So she could see Invisible Girl. And her girlfriend has the same ability. She could see Invisible Girl. And Izumi transforms into Invisible Girl. And I'm going to show you what she looks like now. That's what Invisible Girl looks like in this one. No, it's not Cheshire, sadly. But Izumi put those clothes on because she thought that would fit the Invisible Girl aesthetic more. And Aizawa has the ability to see through quirks, but he's not a pervert, so he doesn't get flustered by seeing girls naked. Because he's also gay. Yes, Mike, ship. I'm not going to go into that. So, he sees her and he goes, Hagakure, clothes, now. And she goes, yes, sir. And she throws clothes on and everybody looks back and sees Hagakure and they're like, when did she get in here? And everybody's looking around and Bakugo's like, oi, nerd. And Izumi's not paying attention at all. And she looks like she's 12, by the way. That's her height currently, Izumi. Without manipulate or transforming into somebody. She looks like she's 12. Well, that's also Hagakure's height. But Hagakure is more well-endowed compared to Izumi. That's another thing, is she can't change breast size. So, after 30 minutes of Bakugo yelling at Izumi, he finally walks up to her desk, and Aizawa's not teaching anything today, and blows her desk up. Right when All Might runs through the door. All Might runs through the door like, I am here, and sees the explosion, and runs, grabs Bakugo by the head, and slams him on the floor and says, Bakugo Katsuki, that's not how a hero conducts himself. And Bakugo is slammed on the floor, bleeding. Yes, I changed who got one for all. It's going to be Kirishima. And Kirishima's female. By the way. And Izumi kicks Bakugo in the head. And yes, her shoes are not made out of latex. They're made out of her hair. So they mimic shoes, but they're not actually shoes. So pretty much anything, she can just tap any part of her body or shoes or anything to get somebody else's appearance. She transforms into Bakugo, and she has much weaker explosions, but same level as him because she can go to her max immediately. Grabs his face and starts blowing his face up and throws him at his seat. And acts exactly like Bakugo and says, Oi, nerd, sit down. And Aizawa saw this and saw how Bakugo acting against Bakugo is hilarious. And you know when I said that she can change into anybody? Well, the only downside, besides her having to have physical contact, and it can't be through latex, is every time she changes, it weakens her. Not physically, she gets, I can't lift anything anymore. It's pain kind of weakness, fatigue. So her stamina runs down severely. So she transforms back into Hagakure looking, and she goes transparent because she can't go invisible like Hagakure. She goes transparent, and everybody could start seeing through her like she's a ghost. And everybody gets recentered by Aizawa, and he says, okay, everybody get out to the training field. Everybody needs to get cooled off. We were going to introduce All Might today and have him do some hero training, but nah, I'm taking over. All Might looks at him and goes, And he goes, don't worry, I'll give you tomorrow. And All Might goes, yes! And All Might runs off to do hero work. And Izumi walks into the changing room, changes her clothes physically through her quirk, walks out, sits on the ground, and lights out for her. Aizawa saw how fatigued she got after changing back from Bakugo and was like, okay, I'm going to wait for her to wake up after, say to everybody, get changed, go out to the training ground. It's now been 30 minutes. Everybody's gone except for Izumi, and she's still passed out. But her eyes snap open, and she goes, okay, I'm ready. And Aizawa goes, okay. And she walks up to Aizawa, and she goes, okay, hand me the ball. And he goes, okay. And Aizawa doesn't touch her. He puts the ball in her hand. And she feels the ball is latex. She goes, crap. And he goes, I thought of everything. She goes, yeah. And he goes, you know what my quirk is? I'm not letting you use my quirk. And she goes, fine. You've read my file. And he goes, yeah. Really good file. Hilarious. Just, yeah, I know. So, I know you kind of copied his appearance. She says, yeah, why? And he finally goes, I'll talk to you about that later. Now, transform and use it. And she goes, fine. I could probably even increase her recovery girl's quirk because it's not at its max potential. But anyways, and he hears that and goes, what? And she goes, nothing. I'll talk to you about that later. And he goes, so she changes into Aizawa. And he goes, what the hell did you get me? And she goes, when I accidentally stole your wallet that one day. And she pulls out an old wallet Aizawa had with an ID in it. And he goes, where the hell did you go to get that? And she goes, I kind of buried it on UA campus. And he goes, oh, okay. Just go and throw it. So she throws it. She gets 1,000. Even. Bakugo's pissed. She goes, what? I can get further than that. And she says, toss me another ball. And he throws her another latex ball. She goes, really? You know I'm weaker on latex. He goes, yeah. So she tosses it back and she goes, throw me a rubber ball. And he throws her a rubber ball. And she goes, explosion proof? And he goes, duh, we have Bakugo. And she goes, yeah. So she cocks her arm back, changes her finger to Bakugo, her arm to All Might, and the rest of her body to Aizawa, because she can do that, and chucks it full force. The flexibility of Aizawa, the strength of All Might, and the explosion of Bakugo, she gets clear over 10,000. And then she transforms back, and then she goes, nap time. And she curls up and goes to sleep. And 2 little cat ears pop out of her head. Aizawa sees this and goes, I'm going to force her to be in that constantly. And everybody sees this devious smile on his face, and he goes, what? Go to class. He picks her up and takes her to the teacher's lounge with Midnight there. And he calls up Recovery Girl and asks, okay, did you know your quirk is not at max potential? And she goes, wait, what? And he starts talking to Recovery Girl and asking all these different questions about her quirk. And it's been a good 2-3 hours. Aizawa finally gets back to class and says, okay, everybody, you're free to go. I know you've been just sitting here. You're free to go back to the dorms because the dorms have now been rebuilt. And Kirishima walks up and says, is the new girl coming back to the dorms? And he goes, no, she has her own separate living because she's on special conditions. And they all look at him and go, what's her name? And he goes, I'm sorry, but I'm not legally eligible to tell you that. But Nezu is, if he's willing. Or if she is. Who knows? Maybe she'll tell you. After another 2 hours, Izumi finally wakes up and goes, I'm really tired. Stretches. Fuck. That was a real yawn. Oh, crap. I'm tired. But she yawned, and oh crap, I'm gonna have to open up my house. My cat shit in its litter box. Oh fucking Christ. I smell better than that, and I haven't showered today. I fucking stink because of that. So, let's get back on topic. But she wakes up and she's met with Recover Girl. And Recover Girl asks, what do you mean my quirk is not at its max potential? And she goes, well, your quirk is limited by your energy, right? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, that's just it. You use up your energy and your patient's energy. If you used only your patient's energy, you'd be able to use your quirk more often. And on the extreme cases, you'd be able to heal better because you'd have been able to efficiently use your patient's energy compared to yours, which will also help your healing because you want to save them energy as much as possible to self-heal better and more efficiently. And she hears this healing explanation. She goes, so what do I do? And Izumi says, well, this. And she explains what to do. And Recover Girl goes, why didn't I think of that? And Izumi starts laughing and goes, because I did. And I'm the one who kind of wrote the book on con healing. And Recover Girl goes, so you're Izumi. And she goes, duh. Hold on. Oh, fucking Christ, my cat. What the hell did you eat, Jack? I should already know the answer to that. But Izumi, oh fucking Christ, I have to leave my house. Fucking air out my house because of my cat. Jesus Christ, my cat. Izumi, she doesn't know she has her cat ears out. But Nezu walks in and is hearing the very meaningful conversation about healing people with Recovery Girl. And he goes, I'm guessing they're talking about Recovery Girl's passion. And Aizawa goes, yeah. They've been at this for a good 30-ish minutes before I even got here, so maybe an hour now. And Nezu goes, oh my god. And Izumi goes, call All Might. And she turns to Nezu, and Nezu goes, what do you mean? And she goes, yeah, you know what I mean. Call All Might. And he goes, pardon me? She goes, don't play dumb. You want me to heal All Might, so he's at full capacity, and I want to heal All Might because he's kind of my idol. And they'll look at her like, what? And she goes, yeah. All Might's my idol. They'll look at her again and go, what? And she goes, duh. What little kid isn't praising All Might at this time of day? Or this time in life? And they all look at her and they go, but you're 22. And she goes, allegedly. And they all look at her and facepalm. Immediately. They facepalm. She's, what? 22 could be my actual agent or not. And they go, your girlfriend told us that. And she immediately goes dead face. And they go, oh crap. We struck a nerve. And she goes, then don't call All Might. And she walks out. She walks to her little house that's been built on the edge of UA with 30 cameras pointing at it. And she says, you can turn the cameras off. I'm not going to actually do anything. And plus, I know there's cameras in the bathroom. And they all look at her and they go, what? She goes, yeah. I know Powerloader's a big freaking pervert. And Powerloader looks at them and goes, I didn't install those. She goes, you're the only one who could have. And he goes, no. Well, damn. The neighbors now have a fountain outside their yard. I didn't know that. Notice that till now. Sorry about the background noise. I'm going to be moving some trash cans. But they look at her and go, we didn't install any cameras. She goes, okay, then tell me what this is. And she grabs a giant chunk of cameras out of the main hall of the area and says, I found these in my bathroom this morning. Oh, and I don't care about the rest of the cameras. I haven't done anything bad enough to warrant taking those down. And they all go, what? And Powerloader looks at all these cameras and goes, yeah, these aren't the cameras I installed. These are version 4s, not a version 5s. And she goes, oh, that's why they look different. Duh. I thought you just ran out of cameras. And he goes, yeah, I didn't do that. And she goes, okay, I kind of believe you. Now, why were they installed? And they go, there's only one person who would have installed this. And they all look at the Class 1A dorms and they go, if you go into that dorm without us following you, you're breaking the rules. And she goes, I know. That's why you're going to be following me. And she starts walking towards the dorms, and Aizawa is currently following her, shadowing her. And she goes, I know you're there, Aizawa, and walks into the dorms. And she yells out the only person that she knows that freaked out when she got into the room of class, to her classroom besides Bakugo, the pervert. And that's why she went transparent. He thought he could see things when she was transparent because her clothes started going transparent. But he was severely disappointed when nothing went transparent to where she could see her items. And he finally gave up. She walks straight up to the Grape's room, transforms into the Grape Head's room, or Grape Head, and starts sealing his room. And she goes, 3, 2, 1. And after she said that, the door starts trying to be opened. But since it's sealed, he can't open it. He starts freaking out like someone's trying to kill him by locking him in his room. And finally, Aizawa walks up and goes, he got what he deserved. And everybody looks at him like, aren't you supposed to be on the side of the kids? And he goes, I am. I'm on her side right this second. Because he deserved that. And everybody looks at him and goes, what do you mean? And he goes, well, he's the biggest pervert in the entire school. And she walks up to another classroom and starts sealing his door. And he goes, what did you do that for? And she goes, well, he's the one who copied my quirk during class. And yes, Monoma is in class 1A. Just for now, though. And they all look at Monoma, and Monoma walks out, and he sees them and goes, "What?" And she goes, "Ooh, good timing." And she slams 2 of the grapes that are on Minetta's head into his mouth. And she goes, roughly 3 to 4 hours, and they'll be gone. And he looks at her freaked out because he saw what she could do to Bakugo after he copied her quirk. So he's freaked out by her. So he starts going, "Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap." And she's, "Don't worry. I'm not going to kill you. I've never killed anybody." Allegedly. And everybody looks at her and goes, "You haven't killed anybody, right?" She goes, "Allegedly." And they all look at her and go, "Serious?" And she goes, "No, no, no. It's not my MO. My MO is stealing without any kind of conflict. You know this." And they all look at her and go, yeah, we do. "But are you sure you've never killed anybody?" She's like, "No, I have never killed anybody on purpose." And she goes, "Can I see the room, though?" And they go, "Yeah, it's right over there." And she sees the caution tape on that one door. And she walks over, and she's now in her true Izumi form, which I'm not showing to you guys just to make you guys speculate on what it looks like. Because, yes, it's got cat tail and cat ears. And yes, her outfit does kind of look like Catwoman's outfit. The leather. She walks up to the door, and she just places a hand on the door. And she goes, "Okay, I'm done," and walks away. And they all look at her like, "What?" She goes, "I told you I'm done. I don't need to be here anymore. I'm going back to my dorm." And she just walks away again. Without telling anybody why, but she just walks away. And they all look at her like, what? The very next day, All Might runs in being like, "I am here." Bakugo gets freaked out by All Might's entrance. And yes, All Might's more strict in this one. And it's going to be a little bit of mean might. Verbal mean might, not physical mean might. And he looks at Izumi and goes, "Even though I don't agree with everybody in here," and then he looks at Bakugo, "I do see potential in everybody here. I don't like me," and he plain out says this, "I don't like mutation quirks. I don't like arrogance. And I don't like convicted felons." And then he looks at Izumi. "Because I see everybody with those traits as either non-human or villains." And then he looks at Izumi again. And she goes, "What? I did nothing to discount your trust." And he goes, "Yet. But you will. It's your nature." And she goes, "The hell? Hi, Maya." That's my neighbor's cat. "Hi. Hi, kitty. Meow. Come here. Come here." Maya looks like a skinnier version of Jack. "I don't think you want to go in there." "Come here, kitty." "Yeah, hi." So, after a few minutes of him explaining his views on people, he says, "But the people I hate the worst are fake heroes." And they all look at him and go, what? And he goes, even though I may not like some of you because of how you look, and he looks at Mina and says, I'm sorry, but if you could prove yourself to be a true hero and you want to be a hero to save people and not want to be just another face in the Hall of Heroes, then I can get over the prejudice I have towards people. I've done it once before, and I'll do it again. But you must prove yourself to be true heroes. And he gave this speech, and Aizawa was about to flip out on him because he said his mind, and Nezu told him not to speak his mind. And All Might looks at Aizawa and goes, you know I would whoop your ass if you actually came after me, right? And he goes, yeah, that's if I wasn't using my quirk. And he goes, yeah, once you stop using your quirk, I can break out of your scarf. And he goes, yeah. Unless I put a quirk restraining collar on you. And he goes, yeah. But I could break that easily because I know how to escape from those. And she goes, and Izumi raises her hand and goes, I do too. And he pulls off the collar that was around her neck and she goes, see? And Aizawa stares at her and starts glaring at her and she goes, what? It's uncomfortable. He goes, true. So, yeah, my neighbors are having a little bit of a party. They're having a shindig. So, that's what you hear in the background. Sorry. Besides the fountain, if you hear that. So, Izumi walks up to All Might and goes, what if I fit 2 out of 3 categories? And he goes, then you got no hope in gaining my trust. And she goes, well, I was given a deal, so I'm going to see through this deal. And if you don't like what I'm trying to do, then you could screw off and get out of my way. Because nothing's going to stop me from completing this deal so I can live. Because that's the last promise. And then she walks out. And I saw his eyes widen. And he goes, All Might, if you do anything to emotionally upset that girl, I'm going to whoop your ass. To next week. And he starts glaring on All Might without his quirk activated yet. And All Might knows that if Aizawa gets serious, he can have his quirk activated up to 10 minutes. But it has serious backlash on Aizawa's eyes. So he starts shaking just a tiny bit and he goes, don't worry. I'm not going to actively seek out trouble with her. If she causes trouble in class, I will actively punish her. But if she doesn't, no punish. So I'll be right back. So later that day, after the first section of Hero vs. Villains training from All Might, he selected teams and he showed them basic combat forms, like how to punch, how to kick, so you don't hurt yourself. Because people are going to be punching each other and kicking each other. And he also told them the rules of this combat training that's soon going to happen. That there's going to be one hero and one villain. Well, one hero and one villain team. And he says that the mutation quirk people are going to be on teams by themselves because they have a stronger moveset than people without mutation quirks. Mutation quirks also give them naturally enhanced abilities. So after those naturally enhanced abilities, he says, you're on a team by yourself. And he looks at Izumi and says, you're also on a team by yourself, even though I know you don't have the mutation quirk. And she goes, about that, I actually do. He goes, what? She says, yeah. Uh, by the way, I'm tired, so night. And she passes out in class. And I'm going to end it there for today. I know this hasn't been a very active one that I've normally done, but part 3 of God's Eye Deku is God's Eye Femdeku is going to be coming out the day after this one, because I'm recording it the day this one airs. So, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Sorry I wasn't. This is being recorded on a Saturday. Sorry I couldn't stream. My computer crashed and my internet was down. So the people who I talked to on Discord, Shiro Senpai, which sorry, I would have loved to get her into a stream with me. Could not join because I couldn't have a stream. And if you can't come tomorrow to tomorrow's stream, which I'm moving the story stream to tomorrow, I'm going to see if I can get my computer working. I need to get a computer. A recording computer. One with high enough ability to do so. And I need to get a better internet connection. So those are on my to get lists. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Talk to you guys later. Stay unsmooth, because obviously, if you stay smooth, you're a better criminal than me. And I'm the unsmoothest of all criminals, so you're always smoother than me. So stay unsmooth so I can at least have some merit. Please. Thank you. See you guys later. If you guys have gotten this far into the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you haven't already subscribed, but if you guys have, leave a comment saying Neil Caffrey. N-E-E-L, because I don't really know how to spell Neil. So N-E-E-L, besides the actual Neil, like I'm kneeling to the king. I know how to spell that Neil, but that's not the Neil I'm speaking of. Caffrey. I don't know how to spell that, so you guys tell me in the comments how to spell Caffrey. Neil Caffrey. If you guys can say that in the comments, I'll immediately heart it, no matter what the rest of it says. Even if it says you're a fucking loser, I'll still heart it. Love you guys. See you guys later. Bye.